The world around you is a tapestry woven with threads of hidden meaning, a silent language spoken by the very structures that define our lives. We walk through cities, dwell in homes, and navigate spaces, often oblivious to the subtle whispers of their design. But what if these shapes, these lines, these angles weren't accidental? What if they were intentional, a deliberate blueprint laid down by unseen architects? This transmission aims to open your eyes to a profound truth, that the overlooked architectural details in our daily environments are, in fact, codified sigils. These are not mere decorative elements. They are powerful symbols deliberately placed by entities that feed on human vitality, on our energy, our focus, our very essence. Understanding this hidden language is the first step to recognizing their influence and perhaps finding ways to disrupt their subtle grasp on our lives. It's about seeing beyond the surface to the intentionality embedded within the mundane. And real quick, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos. Now let's keep going. As we begin this journey, it's crucial to understand the foundation of this hidden architecture. It's a language built on geometry, on forms that resonate with primal energies. These aren't abstract concepts meant for scholars locked away in ivory towers. This is a living, breathing system that shapes your reality, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. The shapes you see every day carry immense power, a power that has been wielded for millennia without your consent. So, are you ready to perceive the code? Are you prepared to see the world not just as it appears, but as it truly is? The structures that surround you are not inert objects. They are active participants in a cosmic drama. In this first revelation, we will begin to dismantle the illusion by looking at the fundamental building blocks of this architectural deception. We will explore how the very shapes that define our spaces create a framework, a kind of invisible cage. The geometric forms we encounter daily are far more than just aesthetic choices. They are the very bars of a prison designed to contain and channel our energy. Prepare to see the world as a meticulously crafted labyrinth, where every turn is guided by an unseen hand. The stark beauty of a right angle, the comforting curve of an arch, the perfect symmetry of a facade, these are the elements we've been taught to associate with order, with civilization, with safety. But what if this perceived order is, in fact, a carefully constructed illusion? This geometric prison isn't built of concrete and steel in the way we typically imagine. Its walls are made of angles, its cells defined by lines, its bars forged from proportions that resonate with a frequency designed to keep us confined. Think of the grids laid out in city planning, the uniform rows of buildings, the predictable patterns of our neighborhoods. This isn't just about efficiency, it's about predictability, about creating a digestible, manageable landscape for the energies that reside within and beyond. These forms are not neutral. They are active agents shaping our thoughts, our emotions, and our very perception of reality. The dominant shapes are often harsh and angular, reflecting a masculine, restrictive energy. There's a subtle but undeniable force at play, a deliberate manipulation of space that mirrors the manipulation of consciousness. The repetition of these forms, the way they are embedded in public squares, in corporate headquarters, in the layout of our most common spaces, creates a resonance. It's designed to lull us into a state of passive acceptance, to make us believe that this is simply how things are. But the truth is far more intricate and, dare I say, more alarming. This geometric framework, this prison of proportion, serves a specific purpose for those who engineered it. It's a system of containment, but understanding this structure is only the beginning. To truly grasp the extent of this enclosure, we must look at how the energy within it is actively managed. So if the geometry itself is a prison, how is this energy actually siphoned away? And what structures are specifically designed for that purpose? Now that we've begun to recognize the geometric framework as a form of containment, our attention must shift to the mechanisms that actively extract what is valuable from within this enclosure. Look around you at the towering structures that dominate city skylines, the skyscrapers, the monoliths of glass and steel. They appear to be symbols of human ambition, of progress, of power, but their true function is far more ancient and insidious. These aren't just buildings, they are siphoning towers. Their height isn't solely for accommodating more offices or residences. It's about reaching, about establishing a connection to higher, or more accurately, lower vibrational planes. The materials they are made of, the frequencies they emit, the very way they are positioned within the urban grid, all contribute to a massive energy extraction operation. They are like colossal conduits, drawing energy from the collective human field. Consider the sheer density of human activity concentrated around these structures. Millions of people live, work, and traverse their shadows daily, unknowingly contributing their vital force. These towers are designed to collect this dispersed energy, to channel it, and to send it somewhere else, somewhere that benefits entities far removed from our everyday concerns. It's a cosmic Ponzi scheme where our life force is the currency. The subtle hum you might feel in a bustling city center, the sense of being drained after a day spent in such an environment, these are not figments of your imagination. They are the direct results of these siphoning towers at work. They are the silent, towering monuments to our own energetic depletion. We are generating the power, and they are designed to harvest it, turning our very existence into fuel for their agenda. But these towers are not the only points of extraction. Other parts of our architectural landscape play a crucial role. As we delve deeper into the architecture of our energetic reality, we must acknowledge the less obvious but equally significant elements that contribute to this system of control. Beyond the towering skyscrapers and the geometric layouts, there are subtler markers, often overlooked, but imbued with their own potent energies. These are the archways, the portals that punctuate our environments, far older and more symbolic than modern construction might suggest. These archways, whether grand and monumental or small and quaint, often serve as transitional spaces. They mark entrances, boundaries, passages from one state to another. Historically, they've been associated with rites of passage, with entering sacred spaces, or even the afterlife. But in the context of this hidden architecture, they function differently. They are not merely decorative or functional, they are deliberate gateways designed for energetic manipulation. Think about the ancient ruins, the triumphal arches, even the simple doorways in old buildings. Many of these are not just structures, they are specifically aligned and shaped to create specific energetic effects. They can act as condensers, amplifying or directing the flow of energy that passes through them. Some are designed to subtly alter consciousness as you move from one space to another, leaving you more susceptible to influence. Their placement is rarely accidental. They often mark points of intersection between different energetic lines or are deliberately oriented to capture or channel specific celestial energies. These forgotten archways are silent sentinels, quietly facilitating the movement and redirection of vital force, often leading us into areas where further extraction can occur. They are the invisible turnstiles of an energetic system. We've seen how geometry forms a prison and how towers act as conduits. We've also touched upon the role of archways as subtle gateways, but a truly fundamental element of our visual perception, something we encounter constantly, is the window. What secrets does this seemingly ordinary feature hold within the grand design? We are surrounded by windows, vast expanses of glass that allow us to see the outside world while keeping us safely ensconced within our interiors. They are presented as symbols of openness, of connection to the external environment, of allowing light and air to permeate our living spaces. But like so many elements in our constructed reality, their function is far more complex and, frankly, more unnerving than it appears. Each window is a gaze, a point of potential observation, but also a point of subtle projection. Think about how a window can feel like an eye looking out, or how you feel observed when you are near one. This is not accidental. Windows are designed to facilitate a two-way energetic flow. They allow light and information in, yes, but they also create a permeable membrane, a place where energies can be exchanged, observed, and crucially influenced. The shapes and placements of windows are significant. Rectangular windows, the most common, often echo the dominant geometric patterns already discussed, reinforcing a sense of containment and linearity. Large expanses of glass, while seemingly inviting, can create a feeling of vulnerability, of being exposed, and this exposure can be energetically exploited. They become mirrors, reflecting not just our physical selves, but our energetic signatures back into the environment for interpretation and manipulation. Furthermore, the very act of looking through a window can alter our perception. We see the world framed, contained within the glass. This subtle conditioning limits our view, both literally and metaphorically. It suggests that our reality is confined to what can be observed through these specific apertures, reinforcing the boundaries of our perceived existence. The window's gaze is not passive. It's active, shaping what we see and how we interpret it. We've explored the prison of geometry, the siphoning towers, the transitional archways, and the perceptive windows. But a particular frequency, a ubiquitous hum, underpins much of this architectural manipulation, a subtle vibration that influences our state of being. What is the true nature of this pervasive sound? The world is not silent. Beneath the cacophony of daily life, there exists a subtle but persistent underlying hum, a vibration that resonates with the very structures around us. While we are often conditioned to ignore it or attribute it to ambient noise, this hexagonal hum is far from random. It is a deliberately engineered frequency, a signature of control built into the very fabric of our environment, and its geometry is deeply significant. The hexagon, a shape with 6 equal sides and 6 angles, is a recurring motif in nature and, more importantly, in the hidden architecture we are uncovering. Think of honeycomb, of snowflakes, of certain molecular structures. This shape possesses profound energetic properties, acting as a highly stable and efficient form for energy containment and transmission. In the context of control, the hexagon becomes a powerful sigil. The hexagonal hum is the energetic byproduct of this form when it is replicated on a massive scale within our urban and architectural landscapes. It's a resonance created by the intersection of these geometric patterns, amplified by the materials and designs of the structures themselves. This hum isn't just sound, it's a vibrational field that directly impacts our nervous system, our consciousness, and our emotional states, often inducing a subtle sense of disquiet or inertia. When you encounter hexagonal patterns in unexpected places, in ventilation grates, in decorative elements, in the very layout of certain plazas or enclosures, you are witnessing the signature of this hum. It's designed to be pervasive yet unobtrusive, a constant energetic dampener. It's a frequency that can subtly discourage independent thought, critical analysis, and vital energy outflow, keeping us in a state of passive receptivity. This pervasive vibration, emanating from the hexagonal architecture, serves a crucial role in maintaining the illusion. But to truly understand the depth of this deception, we must examine the most symbolically potent and universally recognized object of power within this architectural narrative. What does the infamous black cube represent in this grand scheme? We've explored the geometry of confinement, the towers of extraction, the symbolic archways, the perceptive windows, and the pervasive hexagonal hum. Each element plays a role in a larger, unseen design. Now we confront an archetype of immense power, a symbol that has been deliberately woven into the fabric of our collective consciousness, the black cube. Its presence is undeniable, its implications profound. The black cube, often found in places of significant power and influence, is not merely a minimalist aesthetic choice. It is a sigil of profound antiquity, representing a nexus of control, a focal point for the aggregation and redirection of energies. It embodies a dense, inert form of power designed to absorb, contain, and ultimately to obscure. Its blackness signifies the absence of light, the negation of clarity, the deliberate shrouding of truth. Think of its manifestations. the cube in Mecca, the obsidian monoliths of the ancient world, and more contemporarily, the very shape of many corporate headquarters, banks, and even entertainment venues. These structures are bathed in the symbolic resonance of the black cube, acting as nodes within the grid of control. They don't just house human activity, they actively radiate an influence that binds and directs. When we stand in the shadow of a black cube, we are in the presence of a powerful energetic anchor. This shape is designed to create a gravitational pull, not of mass, but of attention and consciousness. It commands a certain reverence, a sense of awe that can, paradoxically, diminish our own innate power. It is a focal point for rituals of submission, whether we are aware of it or not. The black cube is a profound symbol of a power that seeks to remain hidden, to operate from a place of absolute authority and obscured intent. It casts a long shadow, not just physically, but energetically, affecting all who fall within its reach. But this shadow isn't just about visual darkness. It's about the suppression of sound, of vibrations that could awaken us. We've navigated the geometric prison, observed the siphoning towers, recognized the power of archways and windows, felt the hexagonal hum, and stood in the shadow of the black cube. Each layer reveals a more intricate aspect of an engineered reality. Now we turn our focus to something that often goes unnoticed because it is designed to be perceived as background noise or even absent altogether: the sound of subjugation. This isn't about loud alarms or obvious mandates. The sound that facilitates subjugation is far more subtle, often manifesting as a deliberate lack of certain frequencies or the amplification of those that induce passivity and compliance. It's the sonic equivalent of the black cube's shadow, a pervasive influence that dampens critical thought and vibrant energy. Think of the monotonous drone in certain institutional environments, or the way sound is carefully curated in retail spaces to influence consumer behavior. These deliberate sonic environments are designed to create a specific neurological and emotional response. They can induce apathy, anxiety, or a feeling of being overwhelmed, making individuals more susceptible to external direction. This sound isn't just about what we hear, it's about the vibrational frequencies that are intentionally broadcasted or allowed to permeate our spaces, shaping our internal states without our conscious awareness. The architecture itself plays a role in this sonic manipulation. The materials used, the shape of rooms, the very positioning of structures can either absorb or amplify these subjugating frequencies. Echoes are dampened, sharp tones are softened, and a general sonic blanket is cast, creating a muted, controlled auditory experience. It's an environment where the subtle whispers of awareness are drowned out by a carefully engineered quietude. We are not just passive recipients of visual stimuli, our auditory senses are equally, if not more profoundly, influenced. This sonic subjugation creates a fertile ground for further manipulation, preparing us for the next step in this intricate dance of control. But where does this control physically manifest? Often in the most unassuming of places, guiding our very movement. We have begun to understand the visual and vibratory aspects of this global control system. We've seen how geometry, towers, archways, windows, the hexagonal hum, the black cube, and even the subtle sounds work in concert. But to truly appreciate the depth of this engineered reality, we must look at the pathways within these structures, the routes that guide our physical journey and, by extension, our energetic flow. And often, these pathways take the form of the serpent coil staircase. The staircase is a fundamental element of vertical transit. Yet, the specific design and prevalence of spiraling or coiling staircases are far from coincidental. They mirror the ancient symbol of the serpent, an entity often associated with cycles, transformation, but also with cunning, deception, and a descent into lower realms or states of consciousness. These staircases are not merely for going up or down, they are energetic conduits designed to influence the very trajectory of our journey. As you ascend or descend a serpent coil staircase, the spiraling motion can create a disorienting effect, subtly altering your temporal perception and sense of direction. This can be particularly potent in larger, more complex buildings. The continuous, unbroken curve can also mirror the cyclical entrapment we've begun to identify, a never-ending spiral that leads one back to where they started without true progress or escape. The serpentine form is also associated with Kundalini energy, the primal life force often depicted as coiled at the base of the spine, waiting to be awakened. By coiling staircases throughout our environments, an attempt is made to either mimic, control, or even invert the natural ascent of this vital energy, potentially channeling it downwards or outwards instead of upwards towards higher consciousness. It's a symbolic representation of a spiritual descent disguised as architectural utility. These coiled pathways are more than just architectural features. They are physical manifestations of energetic loops designed to guide us through controlled cycles. They emphasize a pattern of ascent that is not truly liberating, but rather a journey through a controlled vortex. But this cyclical movement is often reinforced by a foundational, almost sacred geometric principle that dictates power structures. We've traced the energetic pathways of the serpent coil staircase, a visual representation of cyclical entrapment. Now we must delve into the fundamental symbolic language that underpins the power structures built into our world. This language is often presented as divine or sacred, yet its deepest currents suggest an inversion of true spiritual principles. We speak of the inverted trinity of stone. The concept of the Trinity, 3 in 1, is ancient and appears in many spiritual traditions. However, in the architecture of control, this sacred pattern is often perverted. Instead of representing benevolent unity or divine wholeness, these trinities of stone are inverted, their symbolic arrangement pointing towards division, hierarchy, and the subjugation of natural forces, particularly the divine feminine. Think of the 3 prominent columns, the triple-arched gateways, or even the tripartite divisions in religious or governmental buildings. When examined closely, their arrangement and symbolism often betray an underlying agenda. This is not about harmony, it's about the establishment of a rigid hierarchical order where power flows from the top down, and where energies that represent balance and nature are suppressed or masculinized. This inverted trinity is a spiritual and energetic signature, a way of embedding a false divine order into the very bedrock of our societies. It suggests a deviation from authentic spiritual principles, a turning away from unity and towards control, from essence and towards form, from balance and towards dominance. It's a foundational sigil that subtly influences our understanding of authority, divinity, and our place within the cosmic order. This perversion of the Trinity is designed to establish a spiritual and energetic hierarchy that mirrors the physical one, guiding our perceptions of power and spiritual truth. But this deeply ingrained symbolism often relies on a deceptive surface, a facade that hides its true, more manipulative purpose. What lies behind this carefully constructed exterior? We've begun to unravel the symbolic language embedded in our architecture, from the geometric prisons and siphoning towers to the serpent staircases and the inverted trinity of stone. Each element reveals a layer of engineered reality. Now, we must confront the most immediate and pervasive aspect of this system, the facade. The outward appearance of buildings is a masterclass in misdirection, a carefully crafted promise that rarely delivers its true meaning. The facade of a building is its public face, designed to convey a specific message: prosperity, stability, authority, or even sanctity. But this is a deliberately constructed illusion. The ornaments, the proportions, the materials used are all chosen to evoke a desired emotional and psychological response, to lull the observer into a sense of trust or deference. It's a visual anesthetic designed to prevent deeper inquiry. These facades are often adorned with symbols that have been co-opted and recontextualized. Classical motifs, religious iconography, geometric patterns, all are used, not in their original, pure form, but as tools to reinforce the existing power structures. They offer a false promise of tradition, of wisdom, of divine sanction, while masking a more utilitarian and often exploitative purpose. What appears as noble is, in fact, a carefully disguised mechanism of control. The intention behind the facade is to create an impression of legitimacy and permanence for the systems it houses. Whether it's a government building, a place of worship, or a corporate hub, the facade insists on a certain narrative. It tells us to believe in the intentions of the power it represents, to accept its authority without question. It's a shield that protects the true workings within from critical scrutiny, offering a superficial beauty that distracts from the underlying energetic operations. This polished exterior, this promise of something grand and benevolent, serves to conceal the true nature of the energetic traffic flowing within and around these structures. It's a veil that must be lifted to understand the cost of entry, the toll demanded by these gates. What price do we pay to pass through these portals? We've begun to peel back the layers of architectural deception, from the facades that promise so much yet reveal so little, to the symbolic language of the inverted trinity and the coiled serpent. Now, we must turn our attention to the point of transition, the very act of entering these controlled spaces. This is the threshold, and it has a toll. Every doorway, every gate, every entrance into a building or a significant space is more than just a passage. It is a deliberate point of energetic exchange. The threshold is a liminal space, a boundary where one state of being or awareness is exchanged for another. And in the context of this hidden architecture, this exchange is rarely neutral. It is a toll, a subtle payment exacted for passage. This toll can manifest in various ways. It could be a momentary shift in perception, a subtle alteration of mood, or even a brief energetic drain, all designed to recalibrate your internal state as you enter the controlled environment. Think of the subtle resistance you might feel entering certain buildings, or the way your energy levels seem to dip. This is the threshold collecting its due. The design of thresholds themselves, the materials, the framing, the surrounding symbolism, all contribute to this energetic transaction. They are often imbued with sigils or intentionally oriented to amplify or dampen specific frequencies as you cross the boundary. This act of passage, repeated countless times daily, normalizes this energetic exchange, making us accustomed to giving up a portion of our vitality or awareness simply to navigate our constructed world. This toll isn't always a conscious act of sacrifice, but rather a programmed consequence of engaging with these spaces. It's a subtle, ongoing drain that contributes to the overall energy harvesting. But this constant giving at the threshold is often mirrored by a further level of obscured reality, a ceiling that limits our upward vision. We have journeyed through the false promises of facades, the energetic exchanges at thresholds, and the deeply symbolic patterns that underpin power. Our gaze has been drawn from the ground up, revealing the layers of control embedded in our built environment. Now we ascend to the top, to the ceiling, and find it to be a veil of obscured understanding. The ceiling, typically the uppermost surface of a room or building, is often overlooked in favor of the walls and floors. Yet, it plays a crucial role in shaping our perception and limiting our awareness. In the context of this hidden architecture, ceilings are not just structural elements. They are veils designed to obscure, to contain, and to control the flow of subtler energies. Think of the common practice of concealing wiring and plumbing within ceiling cavities. This physical concealment mirrors an energetic one. Ceilings often serve to block or diffuse energies that might otherwise ascend, preventing them from reaching higher states of consciousness or interacting with celestial influences. They create a lid, an energetic barrier that keeps our focus grounded and contained within the immediate material realm. Furthermore, many ceiling designs incorporate patterns, lighting fixtures, or acoustic treatments that are subtly intended to influence mood, perception, and even sleep patterns. Certain colors, textures, and light frequencies can induce feelings of lethargy, compliance, or mild unease, all of which serve the purpose of maintaining a controlled energetic state. The ceiling, in essence, acts as an energetic governor. The veil of the ceiling is a constant, silent reminder of limitations. It ensures that our awareness remains focused downwards, preventing us from looking up and questioning what lies beyond the manufactured reality presented to us. But the structures that hold these ceilings in place, often appearing as support, are themselves part of the capture mechanism. We've ascended to the ceiling, recognizing its role as an energetic veil. Our journey through the architectural landscape has revealed a pervasive system of control. Now, our attention must be drawn to the very elements that appear to provide support, the silent sentinels that hold up these structures, the columns. While seemingly benign, these columns are often part of a sophisticated capture system. Columns, in their most basic architectural sense, are load-bearing elements, but their symbolic weight is immense. They represent stability, strength, and the foundational pillars of authority. In this context of control, however, they are frequently designed and positioned not just for structural integrity, but as conduits or anchors for energetic capture. They are the silent guardians of the enclosed spaces. Picture the rows of columns in grand public buildings, in temples, in corporate lobbies. Their repetition and symmetry are deliberate. These columns can act as energetic condensers, focusing and channeling the ambient energies of the space, or they can serve as anchors, grounding energies in ways that benefit the controllers rather than the inhabitants. They create a grid, a network of energetic influence that permeates the entire structure. The materials used for columns, their fluting, their capitals, and their bases are all imbued with symbolic meaning that reinforces this idea of capture and containment. They represent a solidified form of power, a physical manifestation of that which holds everything else in place, often by restricting natural energetic flow. They are the pillars of an established order, designed to keep everything precisely where it is intended to be. This constant support, this steadfast presence of the columns, reinforces a sense of unyielding order and confinement. It contributes to the feeling that this system is inescapable, that its structure is absolute. And this perceived absoluteness is further reinforced by the underlying principle that governs its design, the terrifying elegance of its symmetry. We've explored the capture mechanisms of columns, the veiling effect of ceilings, and the energetic tolls at thresholds. Our understanding of this engineered reality deepens with each revelation. Now, we must confront the fundamental principle that binds all these elements together, the invisible blueprint that dictates their placement and function, the symmetry of control. Symmetry, the balanced arrangement of parts on either side of an axis, is often associated with beauty, harmony, and order. It is a principle observed in nature and embraced in art and architecture for its aesthetically pleasing qualities. However, in the context of the systems we are uncovering, symmetry is not about harmony. It's about a precise, calculated balance designed to facilitate control and predictability, a perfect alignment for energy manipulation. The overwhelming prevalence of bilateral symmetry in architecture, the mirroring of elements across a central axis, is not coincidental. It creates a sense of rigidity, of predetermined paths, and of inescapable balance that can be energetically draining. This perfect mirroring ensures that there is no deviation, no room for unpredictable energetic flows, and that everything is neatly categorized and contained. This enforced symmetry extends beyond mere visual balance. It influences the energetic flow within and around structures, creating predictable patterns of dispersion and collection. It ensures that the intended purpose of the architecture, be it siphoning, containment, or influence, operates with maximum efficiency. Any element that disrupts this perfect symmetry is often eliminated or neutralized, reinforcing the regime of absolute order. The symmetry of control is the underlying operating system of this architectural deception. It ensures that every component works in perfect, predictable concert, leaving no room for the unexpected, no opportunity for the spontaneous eruption of true freedom. But this perfect mechanism, designed to control, relies on a final, overarching grid that nullifies any potential for escape. We've marveled at the precise symmetry that governs this engineered reality, recognizing it not as harmony, but as a tool for absolute control. We've seen how columns capture, ceilings veil, and thresholds exact their toll. Now, we must understand the ultimate mechanism that ensures this system remains intact, the invisible web that nullifies any resistance or deviation, the nullification grid. This grid isn't a physical structure, though it is made manifest through the physical architecture. It's an energetic and informational framework woven into the urban and domestic landscapes, a pervasive interconnectedness that monitors, corrects, and ultimately nullifies any attempt to break free or alter the established energetic patterns. Think of it as a conscious network embedded within the very materials and designs of our world. The constant influx of data from our homes, our devices, and our environments is not just for the convenience of technology companies. It fuels this nullification grid, allowing it to understand, predict, and neutralize any emergent energies or thoughts that deviate from the norm. Every perfectly aligned column, every symmetrical building, every compliant pathway contributes to the reinforcement of this grid. The signals emitted and received within this grid are designed to create sameness, to dampen unique vibrations, and to reinforce conformity. It's a system that actively works to erase individuality and critical thought, ensuring that all energies remain within the predetermined parameters. It's the ultimate expression of control, a pervasive dampener on the human spirit and its potential for authentic resonance. We've seen how everything is connected, how the entire system works in concert to maintain this state of energetic subjugation. But what happens when the illusion begins to falter, when an individual starts to perceive the true nature of this orchestrated reality? It is then that the final, most potent element comes into play, the awakened gaze. We've journeyed through the labyrinth of engineered reality, from the geometric prisons and siphoning towers to the hidden meanings of archways, windows, and the pervasive hexagonal hum. We've stood in the shadow of the black cube, heard the sound of subjugation, navigated serpent staircases, and understood the inverted trinity and deceptive facades. We've felt the toll of the threshold, seen the veil of the ceiling, recognized the capture of the columns, and grasped the terrifying efficiency of symmetry. Finally, we understood the nullification grid, the ultimate clampdown on freedom. But what happens when a consciousness begins to pierce this veil? What occurs when the programming is recognized, when the architectural sigils are seen not as design, but as intentional mechanisms of control? It is then that the awakened gaze emerges. This is not a physical sight, but a profound shift in perception, an energetic recalibration that allows one to see through the illusion. The awakened gaze recognizes the patterns for what they are, not mere coincidences, but deliberate imprints of entities that feed on human vitality. It sees the energy flows as they are directed, understands the intentions behind the shapes, and feels the subtle manipulations as an infringement. This gaze is the antithesis of the programmed observation facilitated by windows and facades. It is an active, discerning, and energetically resonant perception. This awakening is the first step towards disrupting the system. By seeing the cage for what it is, one can begin to find the weak points, to recognize where the energy can be redirected or even neutralized. The awakened gaze is the seed of defiance, the spark that can ignite change. It signifies the return of awareness to its rightful place, no longer a passive recipient, but an active observer capable of discernment. And now, with this awakened perception, the question becomes not just how to see the control, but how to actively reclaim sovereignty. The knowledge of the grid has been revealed, but the true power lies not just in seeing it, but in understanding how to transcend its influence. Make sure to subscribe for more videos and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. We'll see you in the next one.